Right, everyone. Welcome back to Student Dream TV, where we are bringing you the best money, investing, and startup tips so that you can secure the bag before and after graduation. I'm your host, Nina Uguomo, and I'm really excited to continue this keynote series where we get to talk with leading entrepreneurs, business people, and investors to help you make money during and after COVID. And so today I'm speaking with an incredible entrepreneur and creative, Wendell Sisnett. He has directed and photographed some of the biggest names in the arts industry and creative industry and music space. And so he's going to kind of key you in on how you can make money in this new normal with creativity. All right. So if that's something you want to do, keep listening. All right. So welcome, everyone, and welcome, Wendell. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me. This is
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. So I kind of gave a brief intro about who you are, but I'd love for you to kind of quickly introduce yourself to the Student Dream community. You know, who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do?
Okay. Yeah. Well, again, as you so eloquently put, like I'm an entrepreneur, a creative. My name is Wendell Sisnett. And I typically use my creative tools. I have a creative tool bag, and the majority of the tools that I use in there are photography and poetry. I also, just recently, I've worked on a video with Wale. I was the second assistant director on that video. The video is called Sue Me, so you could check it out on YouTube. And yeah, that's it, man. That's what I do.
Yeah. So tell me about what it actually means to be an assistant director.
Um, well, basically, you're on set. You have there's different roles on a set, on a film set.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the director, you have the first assistant director, then you have the second assistant director. So the first assistant director is assisting the director with the visuals of how everything is going to look, and the organization of just the set itself. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of managing of people that happens on these sets. The second assistant director, which was my role, I'm managing talent. I'm managing the talent. I'm
Mm.
managing the wardrobe. I'm managing the time. I'm making sure that everything, and makeup and wardrobe as well. So I'm
Wow.
making sure that everything is running smoothly and according to time, so that we can hit the markers that we need to hit, and that we don't go over time, meaning that we don't go over budget.
Mm.
Um, so a lot of it is just managing people, having a good rapport with people, building good relationship with people, because they have to, essentially take your demands. And you want your demands to fall lightly, not heavily. So
Right.
you want to be able to manage them in the right way.
Great. And that's good insight, because I think a lot of times you hear about all these roles, you hear about music videos, but you don't always think about, man, there's actually people who are getting paid to do that type of work.
Yeah, there's so much going on behind the scenes that
Mm.
you don't see on the screen. Um, you could see one person walking through a street, and there'd be 50 people behind the camera.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes on. There's people that have to drive the trucks, people that have to paint maybe a box that goes in the background or something like that. So
Mm.
those are art people. You have the people that are on screen, on camera. They're wearing clothes. The wardrobe people have to put those together. They put them
Ah,
together. They put them together beforehand, and so they have everything ready.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like the people on screen have to wear makeup. Just makeup people.
Makeup artist.
That's it.
That's a
So like
lot.
it's a lot. It's an entire like industry in itself. If you just shoot one movie, that's like a corporation at a
Wow.
time. Yeah.
And so talk to me how kind of your path towards becoming an entrepreneur and, leveraging your skills and your creativity to be able to support yourself, your family, and your community.
Yeah. So the path to becoming an entrepreneur
Yeah.
is just it's a long path. For me specifically. But there was always this. I've been exposed to business and like understanding the importance of business, just doing a lot of reading, and then
Yeah.
always having a passion to want to um, kind of trailblaze and just create my own lane, you know? I would always ask questions like, who created this? Who made this? Who thought of
Mm.
this? You know? Because if you think about every job that you're at, it existed first in someone's mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um, I always, just used to say, maybe I could think of something that could manifest itself enough that I could have people working for me. So being at jobs and being there and just kind of like, not to say that I was smarter than everybody else, but like, but because I've done so much like reading and researching, I've allowed myself to be um, just a leader. Every job I've had, I've been like super autonomous. I've
Mm.
either been in a position where I've had to, the role required that I be autonomous, or I've just been in roles where I'd have managers and they wouldn't even know what to say to me because I I already exhibit the qualities.
Right.
Um, right. And then, just being in those types of jobs and understanding that, okay, I probably can't do this much longer and having to get out. That's the thing that kind of just pushed me to, go ahead and do it on your own, because I also look at my gifts and my talents and how in demand those things are. And I take that into consideration because I don't want to leave. I'd be at work saying, "Oh, I don't want to leave if unless I'm going to make some money,"
Right.
So
And was it easy for you to figure
being,
out what your gifts and talents were?
I would say, they were pretty easy
Mm-hmm.
because I was always curious. I always wanted to know what I was good at. So I tried my hand at a whole bunch of different things, and I found a few that are really strong. And then
Yeah.
continue to build on them. And as you
That's
build on
great.
them, you start to realize that it's like, okay, this comes naturally to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what were you talk about, building on those skills, and you read and you researched. What did that look like specifically for you? What were you reading? What were you researching? How are you building your
So when I
skills?
right, so when it comes to researching for skill building, I feel like it's different from researching for just business. Like I have a passion
Mm.
for business. But when it comes to like skill building, like let's say photography, picking up a camera or something like that, a lot of it is exploratory. A lot of it is just diving in, not being afraid to make a mistake and just go ahead and just work with it. Asking other people that are better than you, finding people that are better than you, and then asking them
Come
questions and
on, that's
studying
good.
them. When it comes to writing, like I write a lot of like poetry, and like some people would ask me who are my favorite poets, and I say, a lot of my favorite poets are rappers, believe it or
Tell me,
not.
who are they? Who are they?
Okay, I got you.
I'm like,
Give me
okay,
top
I
five, top five, top five.
know. Love it. You
Right?
got me on the edge of my seat. I'm like, yo, who are they?
Got you.
You led up to it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I got you right now. Okay. Jay-Z. And this is just purely off of lyricism,
Mm.
not just lyrical ability, not popularity or anything like that. Just pure lyrical ability.
Hmm.
Jay-Z, Nas, Tupac, Lauryn Hill, Lupe Fiasco,
Mm.
top five. I put them up against
I
anybody.
know, I know. I can tell you have thought this out. You're like, this is my squad. This is my starting five. I'm like, all right, he was ready. He was prepped.
Yeah.
All
Number
right,
six and
cool.
seven is J. Cole and Kendrick. But
Okay, okay. That's
right.
perfect. This leads into a lot of great things. So, so tell me a bit more about Blended Vessel, and
Yeah.
just kind of how you guys are bringing value and creating value, who your clients are, how you're
Mm-hmm.
able to make a living off that.
yeah, so Blended Vessel is my imprint. That's my brand. That's what I house my creativity in.
Mm,
And that's, when my writing falls underneath that, my photographs and everything that I do in regards to that, just imagery falls under that. Um, I am building it to be like a studio,
mm-hmm.
like a production studio. Um, but yeah, so how I make a living off of that is just by doing just some of the basic stuff. Like I'll do fashion shoots, I'll do maternity shoots, I'll do weddings, I'll
Wow.
do birthday shoots, like everything, like anything that I need to, that would allow me to work with another person to, not only to just promote myself, but to build a relationship, because that's the key part for me. I don't even do a lot of promotion on Instagram. I really don't.
Hmm.
Um, and
Your
so a
work
lot
speaks
of
for
my
itself.
a lot of my business comes from people who know me and people who have I've built relationship with through my work.
That's
Yeah.
good. And so, I mean, this is great just to know that it's possible to take your love of photography and creativity and lyricism and turn it into cash, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so what, just given the current state of affairs, I think so many of our graduates are thinking, yo, like, man,
Mm,
I see so many of these doors closing, but at the same time,
yeah.
I believe that there's a lot of doors opening. Like, what would be your career or financial advice to students trying to figure out, man, how can I make money in this new norm?
I mean, it's difficult, right?
Yeah.
It's the reality right now is that, there's 33 million people without a job.
Mm,
And to me, this is sounding a lot like my graduation year, 2008.
mm.
I graduated college in 2008, and that was the middle of the crash,
Wow.
the middle of a recession. I couldn't even get a job at McDonald's. So
Really?
it
Wow.
forced, I'm serious. Yeah, I
Mm.
could not. So it forced me to think a lot more creatively, think about the things that I love to
That's
do, think
good.
about what it is that I really want to do. Um, and obviously that was a different time. Right now, we're in
Yeah.
2020. Technology is at a place where it's just so rich. It's so rich
Yeah.
and it's so prime. Um, so with that said, like the gig economy is really huge. You can like find a skill that you may have, that's something that you may be good at, and then you can promote that. If you make earrings, you can put that on Instagram. You could create a page, like brand it, give your earring company a name, and make a free page on Instagram and promote it and tell people, hey, DM me for prices and
That's good.
things of that nature. Um, a lot of people are doing like buying and selling off of like Amazon, like, and I'm saying these things, right? I'm talking about gig economy simply
Mm-hmm.
because the reality is that because there's so many people that don't have a job right now, it's more than likely you might not find one,
Hmm.
or you might, come across a company that has a hiring freeze because they're short on cash or they're trying to hoard cash so that they can survive, Um, so I'd say, like try to find something that you're really good at. Think about it and think about ways in which you can use your free mediums to get it out there.
That's
Um,
good.
I'd also say this too. Um, there's a lot of investing apps. You have Acorns, you have Stash, and then you even have Cash App, which I know a lot of young people use. They use to exchange money here and there. If you have $10 in your Cash App, you can actually buy a piece of Amazon. You could buy a piece of Apple, buy a piece of Microsoft or something like that, and then watch that grow. And like, your $10 could turn into $17 or 20 or what have you. I think that if you can just do that over and over, then you'll be in a good position. You'll never be in a position where it's just like, oh, I'm completely without.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually use your $10. Like because $10 is something that people just spend blindly and not even
Yeah,
realize that it's gone, you know.
that's a
So
fact.
I'd say using that and using those platforms to at least make a little bit of passive income is good.
And explain what passive income is for anybody who may not be aware of what it is.
uh, Passive income is income that is generating itself without you really having to do much, you know. So it's like I said, like that $10 is sitting there. The stock market, especially in tech, is going up,
Right.
you know. And
That
so
money
your ten
is
dollars is
working for
turning it
you.
right. It's working for you. That $10 is now turning into 12, turning into 15, turning into 20. You know, it's slow sometimes, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, so true. And can you just share a bit about like how you've been navigating, this new situation, right? Being in the creative space, like how have you
Yeah,
been just navigating this new norm and still, you have a wife, you have a newborn. I know that's a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of pressure, right? How have you been navigating this new norm? What wisdom can you give to us based on your own experience?
yeah. Yeah, so something like this was like completely unexpected, right?
Yes.
Um,
No one's like,
so
okay, March, there's going to be a pandemic. Let me just prep for that.
let me just plan for that, right? Yeah, right. So, I mean, every day before this, I was, you know, taking out time to business plan and,
Hmm.
you know, take on different jobs, and like the photography was going. I had just gotten off the Wale video. We just shot that like a couple months ago, not that
Wow.
long, like right before the shutdown. Yeah, that was like the
Wow.
last thing I did before everything shut down. Um, and so right now, at this point in time, I just take this time to spend time with my family.
Hmm.
Honestly, spend time with my family, to rest, to read, and just build myself.
That's good.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing right now. Before that, I was just ripping and running. Um, but now I get a little time to rest, a little time to spend time with my family, watch my son grow. He's 8 months old. And he's
Wow.
trying to
Time
walk and
flies.
trying to talk and everything. Yeah, right. So I mean, it's a blessing, but at the same time, it's a little challenging simply because how do I continue to business plan in this moment? These are questions I have for myself. How do I
Hmm.
continue to business plan? How do I how does my business transform or conform to the time that you know is is going to be called the new norm? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what is it all going to look like? How am I going to run a virtual photography business? You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
these are the type of barriers that I'm up against specifically. Um, but I'm not afraid of. Nonetheless, this is where I'm supposed to be.
That's good, man. And I think
Uh,
I love your response because you're talking about building yourself up and there's so much common peace that you have. And I think it's so important in the midst of struggle to have that common peace. So talk to us
Absolutely.
about how you're able to not just build yourself up through, building your skills and business planning, but also kind of stay in that state of mind, right? Even in the midst of
Yeah,
all this discouragement
yeah,
and circumstances not being the greatest.
yeah. I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I really think that true peace, to really have peace, is to really be able to sit
Hmm.
and trust in the middle of a storm, not
That's
before
good.
the storm, not after the storm, but like in the middle of the storm. That's when you can stay calm, because it's the best thing when you can be in control of your senses and control of your mind and be aware. Right now, I have no choice but to be aware, and I
Hmm.
can't allow my emotions to blind me during this time. I have to be aware, I have to be conscious, and I have to make decisions based off of that awareness and consciousness in order to move forward like successfully.
That's good.
Um, yeah,
That's a good point. And so, what would
yeah,
you say are, because you've been asking yourself a lot of questions, you mentioned the business plan question, but what
yeah.
questions would you say that our students should be asking and answering right now?
Um, so basically, I think they should be asking more questions than they should be answering.
Hmm.
because this is a really unique time in history. The last time something like this happened was in 1918. We're in 2020. No one right now that
It's
we
a
know
century ago.
immediately. Yes, we don't. We most of us don't even have family members that remember that. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
this is a very unique time in history. So I think some of the best questions to ask are like, things that surround interest and curiosity. It's like interest and curiosity are like the gateways to like asking the right questions.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I would say ask like, what is it that I love? What do I love?
That's
What
good.
do I love to do? Who am I? Do a lot of self-reflection. Um, what do I want to do with what I love? That's
What do I
another
want to do
question.
with what I love?
What do I want to do with what I love?
You guys let us
How
know,
can
let us know in the comment sections the answers to those questions, y'all. What do I love?
right?
Who am I? What do I want to do with what
What
I
do I
love?
want to do
And if
with
this
what
has
I
been
love?
valuable at all, click that like button. All right,
Right,
keep
right.
going, Wendell.
um, I would also say like because right now, of course, we live in a time of like information, and we can be overly informed. We're bombarded with information
Whew,
on
Lord, say that.
like a ridiculous level. Um, and a lot of that information could either be good or be bad, right? So I would say another question to ask would be, how can I be a better consumer of information? What outlets do I need to look at? What is the quality of the content that I'm reading or
Mm-hmm.
watching, right? Um, I'd give some suggestions like Wall Street Journal is really good, Forbes is really
Mm,
good, Politico is really good, New York Times is really good, LA Times. Those tend to have like a higher quality of information that you can
that's
get.
good.
Another thing is that I know a lot of people have like iPhones, right? My favorite app on the iPhone, this is one thing I used to do every single day. I would get up and I'd open this up,
Mm,
the stocks app, right?
right.
I follow some of my favorite companies. So Apple was one of my favorites, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now you have these news articles attached to what it is that they're doing.
Right.
And this is where a lot of my reading would come from. I'd read a lot of those articles.
That's
Um,
good.
so yeah, like how can I be a better consumer of information? What are the trends? What trends do I see in the midst of this
Mm,
storm? Right? I think this is another like really big question. What kind of opportunities will present itself during this time? What, follow some really interesting like investors
yeah.
like Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, um, Susie Orman. She even said something the other day. She said, like, there's going to be a lot of millionaires made during this time. Why is she saying that? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
find out what it is. Um, and then I would say these last two questions would be what new skill can I learn?
Hmm.
Right? And what current skill can I build upon?
That's good.
So like what do I have already that I can improve on?
That's really good.
You know, what do I have already that could be better? What areas need work, and what areas are really sharp? You know,
I
I would
love
say that's
that.
it.
That's really helpful. Wow.